morning, everyone, and welcome to our Heavenly Parent Holy Community Oceania Hundoke with Reverend Yutaka Yamada and all of us. This day, Wednesday, the 14th of April, which happens to be the 3rd of March in the 9th year of Chongulguk. So let's begin with a bow to our Heavenly Parents and True Parents. Chariot, Kyombe, Haru. And let's recite Family Pledge, both in Korean and English. Thank you.
가존만세 6. 전위국 주인 우리 가정은 참 사랑을 중심하고 하늘 부모님과 참 부모님의 대신 가정으로서 전을 움직이는 가정이 되어 하늘의 축복을 주변에 연결시키는 가정을 완수할 것을 맹세하나이다.
Family Pledge number 6. Our family, the owner of Chongulguk, pledges to become a family that moves heavenly fortune by embodying the Heavenly Parent and True Parents, and to perfect a family that conveys heaven's blessing to our community by centering on true love. And I'd like to ask Daniela Greenhall if she can offer the opening prayer for us.
Dear beloved Heavenly Parent, we come before you with our open hearts, with all that we have, Heavenly Parent, with all our iniquities, but mostly, Heavenly Parent, with our most deep desire to come to know you, to come to know who we truly are as your sons and daughters, Heavenly Parent. And to come to understand what a miracle you are. And the power of love, Heavenly Parent, which we only had glimpses of yet, to truly understand that if we embody your love, Heavenly Parent, truly miracles can come. And at the end of the day, Heavenly Parent, it's really so simple. It's by us becoming one in heart with you and embodying your love. And we have our true parents that have taken the torch at this time and are guiding us to accomplish that, Heavenly Parent. We are so humble and so grateful to be together as Oceania community to really understand the preciousness of our coming together, the preciousness of the task you actually already predestined for us to, not because of ourselves, Heavenly Parent, but all the work throughout history that has been accomplished, Heavenly Parent. So we are here to embody it, to be truly just free, to be who we are. We don't need to compare ourselves with anybody else. We just need to be honest and to be true child in front of you, Heavenly Parent, and respect and love each other as true brothers and sisters should. And that's the way we're going to heal even a true parent's family, because, Heavenly Parent, they have sacrificed everything, because true love is accomplished when every time we have to sacrifice whatever is the most precious to us. That's how we can embody true love every time, Heavenly Parent. And until the end, we're going to keep doing that, Heavenly Parent, because you are teaching us every step of the way and you're empowering us. Thank you for this time. Please allow us to be truly free, Heavenly Parent, to express our love for you, our love for each other, and really whatever it is in our heart, Heavenly Parent, we can connect to our true mother. She's sharing really her life, who she is, how she traveled her journey, Heavenly Parent. Thank you to all the leaders that are taking this frontline position. And thank you to each and every member, Heavenly Parent. And please be with us as we offer this condition every day. Thank you for this great gift you're giving us at this time. And I report this in all our collective names, and in Douglas and Daniela Angelucci Grenoble Central Family. Adieu. Amen.
Adieu. Thank you, Daniela, and good morning, everyone, again. And let's offer a welcome to Reverend Yutaka as she shares with us this morning. Thank you.
Good morning, our brothers and sisters. Thank you for coming today's morning devotion of Oceania and also all nation of our Oceania regions. So every day our weather is really changing. In Australia, Sydney, also getting cold, getting some suddenly hot, really many changing. We can find that. How about your nation? Can you find some changing of weather? Different, right, every day?
Nice and warm.
Ah, that's good. Which nation?
New Zealand.
Wow, great, New Zealand. So every day really changing, and also in our region political side also many kind of changing now. Samoa election was finished just few days ago, and also many new changing coming. Palau side also now good things is going on, and each nation, each region, and in the world level, there is also the providential movement centering on Trimada. But in the same time, we could recognize and we have to understand well how the society is moving now. So we have to go together, providential side and also the social side. Then we can find really what is the God's plan and God's preparation. So yesterday we share about the early movement in Korea, the new village movement, new heart movement, and also new family and new nation movement. So all missionary went to the area in the Korea and they did the pioneering missionary work. So that time they don't have any kind of money and not enough place to stay and poor situation, and center is not beautiful, and they continuously go forward to the pioneering mission. And sometimes they receive the food from middle high school student, their lunch. That much our early missionaries sacrificial life is really the serious, but they that time see the social situation that they contribute to teach the Korean language, build the school and service project, so we could learn those things. And how about their heart that time, receiving food, no food, and just lonely situation, continuously going forward. Maybe they feel some miserable or they feel sometimes lonely, but more than that, they had a mind. I will save this nation. I will save these people, and I will create the nation of God, and I will create the hope. So those heart, those motivation is the early time missionaries' heart. So all of you, also you are same as the missionary. You went some nation to build the foundation. Even nobody, no money, no support, lonely situation, but that time really connect with God's will and to share the blessing and share the principle. So we can remind that. And true parents always visit to the place and embrace them, encourage them, and sacrifice together. Based on those foundation, finally, true parents send the missionary and start to work in the world level. So yesterday also, we see to go to the world, the victory of communist. So let's see the next part. Ours was the only voice in the world to clearly explain the fallacy of its materialistic and atheistic theory while offering a God-centered counter-proposal. VOC, Victory of Communists, strengthened the resolve and understanding of South Korea, and it had a huge impact soon after in Japan, turning back its far left-wing faction through peaceful means. In that era, 1960, 1970, there are many kind of confusion or conflict situation in the world level, especially communist group and also atheistic group. Inside of Korea also, and in Japan, and in America, in the world level, always their movement getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And nobody could give the clear message. What is the long point of communist? What is the long point of atheistics? Those things. That's why even one nation receive the influence from the communist group. Those situation was happen from 1960, 1970, and 1980. So really world was the serious situation. Among those situations, who gave the clear solution? Who gave the clear message to the world? This is the true parents. The fallacies of its materialistic and atheistic theory. What is the problem of this? And what is the real solution and truth? This is the victory of communist. So through victory of communist, actually there is many kind of physical battle also inside of Korea, inside of Japan, and in the several nations. But because this is God's will, this is the emergency situation in the world level. True parents also enter to USA and also meet the president, meet the people, and the rally in the all state in America, and also tell them God have to be here. God have to return. All people have to return the original thought of America. Believe God and save this nation of America and save the world. So those movement was happening in the world level, the victory of communist. That's why when we see that period of time, really serious situation, even religious leader could not say clearly, and also the leader of the nation could not say clearly, could not say clearly. That's why true parents' message and our movement was receiving many kind of persecution battle, but also fight back and show the way to the people. Because true parents could receive the clear message from the spiritual world and fight with Satan and gain the seal of heaven. What is truth? What is wrong theory? That's why true parents could create and open this movement. So I think maybe some of you are the one who are standing in the middle of battle, right? Maybe in that victory of communist, fighting with communist group, and also in the society. So I think 1960, 70, 80, that moment maybe you can remember, and also you can share those message. Really many people fight to risk their life and really try to bring back God in our society and also our nation. This is the one of the battle in the middle of our movement. So victory of communist. But actually, not only that time, how about now? Maybe they don't show so much about communist nation or communist world or communist theory, but now their status was changing and showing through the cultural communist. So all culture or individualism, those things is coming to our society now. That's why once again, we have to stand clearly and we have to share the clear message to the people, even gender equality, family value, individualism, those things is actually rooted from those communist theory. So we have to think seriously and have to think how to fight, how to show our heavenly parents and true parents value and true family movement in our each society and each nation and each world. At that critical moment, my husband and I once again urged our members, especially the women, to take action. Our Heavenly Parent knows the power of women. Our movement did not truly begin until our couple's holy wedding, because we are a family movement and it takes a husband and wife to create a family. My husband is the world's foremost champion of women as the moral leaders of the family and society. So in that complicated or confusion situation in the world, what is the critical moment and what true father and true mother emphasize? There are many kinds of providence, but in the same time, true parents emphasize the role of women. So here, there are many kinds of women or leader is here. What is the role of women? Women's role is important. Of course, male role is important, but how much now true parents emphasize the role of women and encourage them and take action in the world level. So true parents emphasize also the role of women and develop the movement. So we could see this one. With this conviction, we called Korean blessed wives to sacrifice their family life for a time and as missionaries go to the street, to the whole of government, to the churches and the temple, and from house to house to provide education, empower the people, and multiply the patriotic spirit. The wives responded. Each entrusted their young children and sometimes ill elderly parents to their husbands' care and set out. So generation and time was continuously going and going. So based on the movement of 1960, their women's movement was started. And also to parents emphasize all blessed wives have to leave your family to save the nation. That's why for 3 years time period, all blessed wives in Korea, they leave the family, they left the family, and they totally invest. So there is some kind of a history. So even some children was still baby, so small, and some blessed wife, there is no people to take care of their children. That's why even they cry, but they put their children to put in somebody's house and just left the children to go to the missionary work because of saving the nation and saving the world, because this is God's will. This is really serious situation. That's why they stood and they went to the missionary works. So when they go there as the mother, embrace children, embrace the peoples with mother's love, education, and serving and helping. So those movement missionary work was started. And also even after that, continuously this women's missionary work was spread in the world level. So that 3 years time period, also some serious situation between North Korea and South Korea. And also I heard some testimony. That time North Korea was preparing to attack to South Korea again. But because of offering 3 years all breast wives condition, they could not come to the South Korea because there is river between North and South Korea. I don't know which river, Hangan River or Amnokkan River. There is some kind of river, and winter time of Korea, all river will be iced. That's why frozen. If the river was iced, the all North Korean army could easily attack to South Korea, but offering this special Johnson condition for 3 years, actually this river was not iced that time. That's why North Korean army could not attack to South Korea. So that time there is also special spiritual offering condition. So those fighting with spiritual world and preparation for the condition, then they can open the way of the God's providence. The mother is the center of the family, and when she is not home, even for a day or two, the family suffers. Our wives and mothers went out not for a day or two, but for 3 years. For every father who had to cradle and feed a child, begging for his mother's milk, and mother on mission was squeezing milk out of her swollen breasts and weeping. It was almost like Jesus' 3 years of public ministry or my husband's 3 years in a North Korean labor camp. So this 3 years time period is not simple moment. So all women really invest a lot, and really their family, their children was also suffering, but also patient and patient and patient. So when you go to the missionary, maybe you could understand this kind of heart. And also the Japanese missionary, through father also sent many Japanese missionary, around 1,600 missionary, 4,200 missionary to all over the world to educate 160,000 women. So those providence was happen, and also America, and also several nations, those missionary movement was there. So as the mother, maybe some of you are there as the mother. How was your heart, mother's heart, just leaving your children and to go that mission work? So when you see the children, of course, when you go as the missionary, you yourself will be maybe suffer or lonely, but maybe you could overcome about your suffering or your challenging. But when you see your children was crying, children was suffering. When parents see the children suffering, this heart is more painful heart and more serious heart. And this is also our Heavenly Parents' heart and true parents' heart, which they are feeling and they are experience and they are facing with our Heavenly Parents, children, and all human beings. That's why missionary time period, all mother also offering their life, and also children itself. Actually, also my parents, also my mother went to the international missionary that time as the Japanese women, some missionary work, 1,600 and also 4,200. She went to USA, also she went to Uruguay as the missionary. So she was not in the house more than 1 year or 2 years in the important moment when I have to study to go to the high school, some kind of exam, most important exam time period. So anyway, really the parent side and also children side, family side. But those foundation, those investment is actually for saving the nation and saving the world. So those foundation sacrificing situation is making develop the providence more and more. Wives who were pregnant when going out would return to give birth, and after 100 days go back to their mission field. After the 3 years, when the mother returned, their youngest children did not recognize them and even resisted them. Such is the incredible sacrifice of heart offered to our Heavenly Parent for the restoration of the world. When a woman has a baby, she experiences the pain of childbirth. Despite this, the midwife's job is to encourage her to push more. Like midwives giving birth to a new world, my husband and I pushed our unification family members. So missionary job is actually the same process to give birth, and true parents position is same position as the midwife's position. So when midwife see the pregnant woman to give birth, and pregnant woman was really painful now because baby is coming out and painful. But midwife have to push her strongly more and more. Then mother's body and baby's body will be healthy and baby could come out well. That's why when true parents see the all members' situation, do you think true parents doesn't know all mother's situation or all family situation? Even true parents know that. Even true parents know how difficult to push them, how difficult to tell them. But in really save the nation, save the world, and for better future environment for our children generation, our future generation. Really, true parents push and also encourage them and guided them. That's why we could understand, of course, all missionaries' heart is there, but behind of that, how about our true father's heart and true mother's heart and our heavenly parents' heart, who should have pushed them and also have to send them to the mission area. So those situation was happen in that moment. Historically, every time danger appeared, the Korean people, farmers and loyal patriots defend their homes and their nation. With that spirit, our members rose and defended their homes, a nation against communism. My husband counseled these courageous women. The people do not understand unification now, but if the 30 million people of Korea join together with the unification church, this nation and these people will not perish. That's why thinking how to save and how to move. So this kind of determination and hope really change the society, stop the communist world, and also save the nation. So we could see if 30 million Korean people could accept true parents, then already this nation will be peaceful nation. So those people have this kind of will and this kind of wishes. The blessed wives valued their pain in their hearts, for they knew that their mission was for the sake of the nation. In hindsight, their work has borne great fruit and can only be considered the most praiseworthy act of patriotism. Thus far, it has been hidden from view in our nation's history, but one day it will be revealed. So even people could not see those situations, but all investment will be remain as the history. As the unification church spread to other countries, blessed wives around the world followed the example of the early Korean wives and their families. Thus, this brilliant chapter has been written in the history, not just of Korea, but of all nations. All blessed wives stand on this foundation and are carrying on this tradition. It is a story of women sacrificing to preserve the nation and world. One of its fruit appeared 20 years later in our meeting with Mikhail Gorbachev and then President of the Soviet Union. So this the history of women's missionary, not only Korea and the world level. So those situation is happening. Then this is the final slide. This opened the door to teach the young people of the former Soviet Union our God-centered worldview, the democratic spirit and ethical values, which contributed to the reconciliation of East and West and the downfall of communism. Another fruit was our trip to North Korea in 1991, when we met North Korean leader Kim Il-sung. Our harrowing but slowly triumphant visit opened the way for dialogue between North and South Korea and prepared a foothold for our work there. So after Soviet Union, Mikhail Gorbachev also meeting with Kim Il-sung. So True Parents is leading the victory of communists to attack them and also teach them what is the long point of communism. So almost actually enemy of them. But True Parents embrace Soviet Union and also North Korea, Kim Il-sung, and continuously proclaim the head-wing thought centering on God. So we could see how much True Parents investment. So when we see the whole history behind the progress of providence, there is also missionary sacrifice, all leader sacrifice, family sacrificial situation. Maybe at the moment we could not recognize. In the moment, our parents, our missionary, our brothers and sisters could not recognize the meaning of this sacrifice or providence. But later, we could recognize how much those sacrificial moment was important because of your sacrifice, because of each of us, our investment, our True Parents sacrifice. Then nation will be changed and world will be changed and future will be changed. So today we saw those missionary work centering on the women, centering also through mothers a message. We could recognize how much world level or missionary work was spread in the world level, and now we could see many progress and going on in the world level. So each moment we reflect again what really the offering moment, sacrificial moment. In that moment, what really our Heavenly Parents thinking and feeling together with us, together with our family, our True Parents, how their heart together with us, and really what kind of message did we have each moment. We remind again, and we feel again, and we determine again, and we will go forward to create new nation, a new world, a new future. So once again, I'm really appreciate all of you to join today's Hundoke. Let's prepare the heart. Let's create the new day, happy day, and offer the victory to our Heavenly Parents and True Parents. Thank you very much for today. 감사합니다.
Thank you very much, Reverend Yutaka. As always, revealing or explaining more deeply and clarifying the mother's words. Just want to welcome everybody and to explain that not every time we're going to do breakout rooms. We want to change it a bit and ask people to give testimonies and also chat. And because yesterday there was a lot of people that didn't want to join breakout rooms and just left. So there's different ways that people interact and appreciate. So I think today we won't be going into the breakout rooms. We'll just share. I was inspired and reminded by your mother's words of the sacrifices of the mothers going as missionaries and doing VOC. And my own personal experience, I was in America doing VOC and going to the black churches in Atlanta and having the experience of being, after talking to the ministers of the churches, then being invited to come and give the VOC lectures to the congregation. And I got invited 3 times in 3 different churches, and they were really amazed and grateful by the clarity of the teaching and the clarity of the principle and the clarity of what Christian responsibility should be, and it really did change. That VOC, the Victory Over Communism lectures, really did change the hearts and minds of the ministers and equipped the Christians with a counter proposal, because they really didn't have any solution. Communism was looking like a better solution to a lot of people, and when this came out, it was surprisingly exactly what they needed. They felt artistically there was something wrong, but they couldn't vocalize it. And when VOC came out, it really gave strength and voice to the American people, and they really did combat it. And not just in America, in Japan and many of the nations that represent the Adam and Eve and elder son, that really did change the world a lot more than we realized. And I never experienced the wife going, but it's good to see Paul here. We went to the islands as missionaries and sacrificed our families. We sold our homes. We went and did missionary work. It really did affect our children. We had that experience of coming back and the younger ones not recognizing us, and the younger ones, all of them in their different ways, felt abandoned. And I can imagine that's what happened to all of the children. That when your parents go, it's hard not to feel abandoned and to have some sort of resentment. Still, we are dealing. My wife's sitting over there. Still dealing with that issue today. It's a pain that takes a long time to hopefully resolve, but we read the words of sacrifice, and the families did sacrifice, and the providence did change, and the world is improving, but at the same time there's a lot of damaged hearts along the way, and hopefully as a community we can support each other to strengthen our hearts. That's why I appreciate this morning Hundok. I can see everyone, and everyone gets a chance to express their heart and their concern, and at the same time can feel encouraged that the path that everyone has taken and never given up on will and has changed the world. It takes time. I remember when I joined a movement that I expected the world to be restored in 7 years, and 7 years comes and goes, and still a troubled world, and just realizing that we really have to embody perseverance and faith and finish the race in a victorious way. So thank you, everyone, and I'd like to open it up to who would go first. I can see Doug's hands going up. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to add something else to about your work, John, and Paul's, see him there, with VOC in America. So that was 40 years ago, you know. So like all those people involved, they laid the foundation, but many people lament the feeling like, what are we doing today, you know? And I just want people not to be afraid that nothing's being done, because Causa gave birth to myriads of great people with great ideas. So today, alongside of all the work of Causa, the VOC, and the Washington Times, we're now with the children of those organizations, Epic Times being one. Worldwide influence, you know, people doing movies, social news networks, rising up like mushrooms after a rain, you know, all over the world. And I'm very inspired to just give you one example. This was sent to us just a short time ago by Gordon Anderson. So Gordon Anderson is the publisher of our Paragon House. And his wife, I used to be in CARP with his wife, Mary Jane Anderson. So we're working together like on Saturdays to witness to the people in our neighborhood, in our neighbors. And of course, the most important message is to teach people about God, true parents, the marriage ceremony. But alongside of that, we need to give them some way to understand the politics of this time. So he's also he's a professor for the Unification Thought Institute, Gordon Anderson, and his writings can be found on trueparents.org. He's just really great in understanding the politics of this time. But this thing here, they went and sent this to us, but actually I found it on YouTube. It's called Agenda, and then there's another one called Agenda 2. And it's grinding America down. It speaks on the insidious ways in which communism deceives people and lies to people. This is something that everyone can find on YouTube. Agenda and Agenda 2. And they recommend that this be looked at by everyone everywhere. If we did this, we could answer a lot of the questions that are on people's minds today. And I think it will help tremendously. We have guests coming over here, and we have to warm up their hearts and have fun and laugh and so forth. But if we say something against communism, they freak out, you know, because they're so, you know, in head with the mass media. They only watch ABC. So we need to do things like this. So I wanted to let people be aware of it. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks, Douglas. Thank you, Douglas. Yeah. Yes, Mr. Arai, go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. And today, incredible topic, VOC, and also 3 years pioneer. I think people involved, and how can also understanding 3-year pioneer time is I think incredible. We try to maybe not only here. I think we have to spend the time a week and try to really understand. Also, we like to really offer gratitude. Today, just I remind yesterday to welcome to Paul, and he fly down Queensland with Corona couldn't come, and he visited his mother, 89 years old, a nursing home, and the sisters, and he's one of the pioneer with John and Russia, and but he's very well fitted, and I was encouraged, very happy time, and he visiting, and also it's members, and very good time to welcome to Poland, and also James Tneko, and thank you for your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rai. Okay, thank you. Oh, looks like that's like an invitation, Paul, to say hello to everyone. Yeah. Go ahead, Paul. Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Happy to be here. Miss you all. Thank you for all your kind words, Mr. Rai and Uncle John. I just wanted to make one point, if I could. I'm not going to speak very long, because I could speak a long time, as you know I can. We feel a lot of pain in our hearts because of going to the mission field, as we did, John, Uncle John, and leaving our children behind, and we left a trail of pain and heartache. And we can't change that. That's all in the past, and we can't turn the clock back. All I wanted to say was that that we cannot change, but the time that we have with our children now, even our 25-year-old children or 30-year-old children, we can do something about that. And so what I wanted to say was that we can rethink the way we communicate, the way we behave, our attitude. That we can change. That we can, there is space there for us to be able to be different and find a way to connect and communicate, the sorrow we feel, the hurt that we feel, the hurt that we created through our departure, through responding to God's call. We have a way now to be different. Now, how to be different, that's a topic for a whole sermon, but I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thanks, Paul. I saw Tony's hand go up. Go ahead, Tony. Yeah. And then Reiko after that. Yeah.
Hi, everybody. Keith and I were very much involved in the Providence in Germany in the 1980s and early 1990s. And that involved lots of VOC work under Paul Werner. We were giving out like millions of leaflets on the streets of Germany. And personally, I really enjoyed this because I really hated communism. And I was so happy to be able to do this. Then, of course, later on, Keitha came to join me from New Zealand in 1984 in Germany. And we had a young, our children came one by one in the late 1980s. And Keitha was asked to go out for periods of 21 days. And of course, I'm sure if Keitha were to speak about this, it would be quite hard for her. For me, I was like a typical brother. I just sort of got on with it. And also when the Berlin Wall came down, they were looking for volunteers to go to Eastern Germany. Sadly, not very many volunteered, but we were really, personally, I was really inspired by this. I really wanted to go to Eastern Germany. And so I pioneered a little town called Magdeburg, which I was talking about yesterday in our breakout room. And yes, I went to former Eastern Germany in 1991, I think it was, for 40 days on my own. I left the family behind. Personally, once again, I really enjoyed this. It was a great experience. It was like an adventure. You know, it was fascinating for me to be in this part of the world, and the buildings were terrible, but, and, you know, I could talk all day about this, this pioneering experience in former Eastern Germany and all the stories that we heard. Yeah, so yeah, there's a lot to talk about here. And Keitha went also, the wives were asked to go to other former communist countries. So Germany was paired up with Hungary. And so we were in Hanover at that time. And I think 3 or 4 wives from the Hanover Center went off to Hungary, leaving the brothers to look after the children for 3 months. And I think that was the hardest task in my life, looking after 3 young boys. We weren't on our own, but you know, I could appreciate what women had to go through looking after young children. And of course, you know, brothers are just not equipped to do this. But we managed somehow, and I know our children do bear some scars from that time. But I also know how important that was. And for me, it's one of those sort of war stories, you know, like people go to the war and they tell their children years later what it was like to be in the war. And this is one of my favorite stories, how we went to former Eastern Germany for a year. In the end, we were there for 1.5 years, nearly 2 years in Magdeburg. And yeah, we had wonderful experiences with the people there. You know, they'd suffered a lot and they were under communism and all the stories, you know. Anyway, I can't really go into it in detail here, but it was a difficult time, especially for the wives, especially for the children. But for me personally, it was actually a great time. I loved it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I just offer something? I just add to that. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, that aspect of leaving our children. Our young boys were left before they could even understand. I left the boys before they could even understand. You know, they were pre-verbal, and many times. And we joined Hyojunam on the Berlin Wall. Many times we were called leading up to when the Berlin Wall actually opened. And those children definitely were traumatized, victims of the Providence. So I think when we look at our children, many times we wonder, oh, why aren't they this, or why are they struggling that, or whatever. But can be easy to get. I think we have to be very careful, and I know that they are, Tony said scarred, but I would say, you know, they're very deeply wounded and they need a lot of healing, and a lot of healing, like Paul mentioned, of the parent-child relationship. It takes loads and loads of time and loads of healing. And yeah, so I think we need to be mindful of the older children who went through those things and what they're still trying to deal with. And that comes out in their struggles in their faith quite often too. Yeah, so yeah, I'd just like to say that.
Sure. Thank you. Okay, Reiko, go ahead.
Yeah, just you know, we in Australia we had a 40-day pioneer. The old when Paul Warner came, our sister went to Brisbane, and we did the 40-day the witnessing condition. And that time our daughter is only a few months old, and that time I experienced first time, you know, separate from family as a wife. Of course, you know, have pain, separate from husband, but I felt separate from daughter is kind of unbelievable. But anyway, our time is just 40 days. But yeah, for mother, I just thought our true mother, her cause is always front line. Seems she's together with true children, but she cannot take care, her true children. So I felt so much her pain. She understands all the, the blessed wives' heart more than anybody. And I feel her heart is so painful. Just a small comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Reiko. Thank you for sharing. It's actually, we're at time to offer our 7-minute prayer. So I'll just share the screen and we can share together and pray for each and every one of us. So I'll just share the screen now. Okay, let's pray. Aju, Aju, Aju. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day. And I did see your hand up there, Randall, but maybe you can save it for tomorrow. So have a great day, everyone, and see you later. Bye.
Bye.
God bless.
See you
Have a good
tomorrow. Thank you.
Bye.
See you. Bye bye.
Good to